Hi, this is Kelcy Bremer, and this is my introductory video for EDL853 Section VA, Module 1. Some personal information about myself. I was born and raised in Council Grove, Kansas. This July 4th, I will celebrate 10 years of marriage to my husband. We have two very active kids. My son is 9 and my daughter is 7. They participate in every sport that they can be involved in our community, and are also just very energetic and active kids in general. We have two rescue dogs, Moose and Daisy, and then I also have an 18-year-old cat who has been with me through thick and thin, and she is well loved in our family. We recently purchased my parents' house. They are ready to retire and downsize. And my mom was able to build her dream home with the help of my dad and my uncles, and they wanted that to remain in the family. So my husband and I were ready for a little more space. Our kids have some room to roam around outside and explore. We're just outside of city limits in the town we live in. So it's been a great transition for us recently. When I have free time, I enjoy running, attending concerts and sporting events, especially K-State athletics, and time with family and friends is how I unwind. Professionally, I just finished my 15th year of teaching. 14 of those years were in kindergarten, and I spent 1 year in second grade when I moved from my previous district to the district I'm currently employed with. I spent 8 years, my first 8 years of my career in one district, and then this coming August, I will start my 8th year in my current district. I do work in my hometown where I was born and raised, which has been a great experience. For this coming school year, I have been offered a position as an assistant principal in my elementary school, but the other part of my role will be to serve as an instructional coach for the entire district next school year, pending the completion of this course and my comp exam and licensing exam. For my critical reflection, I do believe that my school is in a very good place when it comes to what we implement for our special education services for our students in K through 6. Our students do receive the support that they require as needed and as stated on their IEP. Modifications and accommodations that they should be experiencing in the classroom are listed on their IEP. And some of these can include read aloud, that is available for assignments and testing, alternate location to take a test or complete an assignment, such as a quiet workspace, or preferential seating, or having extended time to work. Our special education staff provides progress monitoring reports that are sent home quarterly to keep parents informed on their child's progress towards their IEP goals. Alternate core is available to students who are not successful in our core content areas of reading and math. And students receive Tier 3 support in reading and math as needed, which is also dictated by the services that they receive as stated on their IEP. Speech and language, as well as gifted services, are provided in building for students who qualify. The area that I think that we have the most room to improve as far as our special education services and support is in our pre-K program. We currently have a federally funded at-risk pre-K program. We do see identified students in that class, but they are not typically receiving the support that is needed. It is also very difficult to get a student identified in preschool just because the support isn't available in building. We do have our special education services provided to our district through a partnership that we have with the Flint Hills Special Education Co-op, which is located in a town about 30 minutes away from where we work. And our special education coordinator, who is available to us through the co-op, is part of our district administration team, which I feel is helpful because she's involved in decision making for all students district-wide. Our special education teachers and para-educators that are provided through the co-op are housed in the building, so there's not shared travel time with other buildings as far as their jobs are concerned. But then there are other services such as OT, our social worker, and our school psychologist that are just in the building as needed to provide services. My personal critique, working with special education students is one of the most fulfilling aspects of my career. I would say that my experience in my previous district, which was a district that was much larger than the one I'm currently in, molded me into being an educator who appreciates what students with special needs bring to the classroom. Through working with students with very diverse needs, from students with autism to students with fetal alcohol syndrome and students with shaken baby syndrome. Each of those experiences helped me become a better educator and a better person, and enabled me to share those same experiences and traits with the other students in my classroom. The teachers, the special education teachers that I worked with in my previous district really helped me understand how best to support students with special needs. And while I was there, I quickly realized the impact that these students were having on me as a person and an educator, and began to request that students with special needs be placed in my classroom, and then began seeking out the knowledge that I needed to best support those students, finding new ideas and strategies and resources through the people I worked with or just from researching. I really enjoyed the teachable moments that students with special needs bring to the classroom. As I said, I think that they have the potential to make us all better people by teaching understanding and diversity and compassion. I also learned a lot about the use of manipulatives and small group instruction, and just offering students more one-on-one support to ensure that they were also successful in the classroom. My proposed plan of improvement for my current building, as I said, I think that our greatest weakness is our pre-K program at this time. That both the pre-K teacher and our current superintendent are aware that this is an area that we can improve in. I do feel that students are not receiving the level or frequency of support that they need, especially when we know that they are students with special needs. Our pre-K teacher is qualified. She's an exceptional teacher, and she does have a special education degree, but the classroom that she teaches in is not considered an early childhood special education classroom, and it is not equipped, or she has not provided the support needed to operate her classroom in that type of capacity. The at-risk program that we do have in place is through the use of aides and not paras. So our aides are not trained to provide the services that we often see students needing as they come into that classroom. As I mentioned earlier, it's difficult to get students identified while they're in the pre-K program. This can be this includes speech. When we see pre-K students with speech needs, behavior is a very big concern at this point. And we have seen how that's affecting students' kindergarten readiness as they move into kindergarten the following year. And then another concern is, since it is a federally funded at-risk program, each of those spots is required to be filled by an at-risk student or a peer model. However, when we see students with special needs, we obviously want to get them into the program and exposure and supports if at all possible. And this ends up taking one of those spots for an at-risk or a peer model, which also causes issues. So my plan is to work with district administration to expand the pre-K program. I think the first step is to build a universal pre-K program for all 4-year-olds in the community. At this point, we have 4-year-olds on the waiting list because we cannot serve all of the 4-year-olds in our community. I think the next step is to develop an early childhood special education program for 3-year-olds in the community so that they are not waiting until they're 4 years old to get the support that they need. And this would require us to use our partnership with the co-op that we already have in place to provide services in-house for that 3-year-old and 4-year-old program. When I think about the impact that funding has on this plan, additional funding would be necessary to grow this program for both the 3- and 4-year-old pre-K classrooms. The limited federal funds that we receive for the at-risk spots mean that everything else is district funded beyond those 15 spaces for each class. And currently we have an AM and a PM section. So 30 students are being funded federally, and the additional 10 that are in the class lists are provided by the district, and the teacher is also being paid through district funds. I believe that by using our partnership with the Flint Hill Special Education Co-op, we can provide services to the early childhood program with limited additional funding needed. The services and support would already be there. It would just mean that we would need to hire additional certified staff to be the classroom teachers for the additional 4-year-old and early childhood special ed 3-year-old program. But everything else would be provided through the co-op at that point. That is my information for Module 1. Thank you.